Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. This is Novice, and today we will be going through 5 of the most scariest and weirdest true stories we can find. Fair warning if you are watching this at night, to close your door and cover yourself, cause the stories will send shivers down your spine. With that said, let's get into it. The year was 1995 and the story is in a little town with a small population. In our little neighborhood, there was this girl who always gave everyone the heebie-jeebies. She had a way of sending shivers down your spine with her spooky stories. One time, she told us all that behind her house, deep in the forest, there were dead, bloody people lurking about. Can you imagine? We were all petrified. So scared, we ran home to tell our parents, and soon enough, all the dads were out there searching the woods, hoping it was just a tall tale. But what did they find? Not ghosts or ghouls, but just a bunch of trash, Hot Pocket wrappers, and beer bottles. Still, that girl's words stuck with us. From then on, none of us wanted anything to do with her. She became the neighborhood's own little horror story, and I was right there with the rest, avoiding her like the plague. Then, things took a turn for the worse. My parents split up. It was a tough time, with the movers coming to pack up Mom's things from Dad's house. And guess who decided to show up out of the blue? That girl. She said something about Matt not liking the divorce. Who's Matt, you ask? Well, he's her imaginary friend, or so Dad told me. But he sounded like more trouble than just a figment of her imagination. Even after I stopped being friends with her, her parents stayed close with my dad. They told him all sorts of strange things about Matt. How he could mess with the lights, even make the power go out. And sometimes, late at night, there'd be this knocking on doors. Creepy stuff. Then, one fateful day, Dad decided to invite them over. I begged him not to, but he insisted. When they arrived, Dad thought it'd be nice to show the girl my room, since I had a new TV. She seemed normal enough at first, complimenting my stuff. But as I tried to play a movie, she just sat there, quiet as a mouse. And then, out of nowhere, she said it, "Matt's here." And just like that, the lights flickered, and I bolted out of there, tears streaming down my face. Her parents rushed in, grabbed her, and left in a hurry. I couldn't sleep in that room for weeks after that. And even now, years later, whenever the lights flicker or a bulb blows out, I can't shake the feeling that maybe, just maybe, Matt is still lurking around somewhere, waiting to make his presence known. It was a dark, moonless night, and I'm driving home from a family gathering. My name's Matt, by the way. Anyway, the roads are deserted, except for the occasional passing car, and the dense trees cast eerie shadows that seem to dance in the faint glow of my headlights. Now, I'm not one to easily scare, but something about the atmosphere that night had me on edge. The drive felt longer than usual, and fatigue was starting to weigh heavily on me. I kept telling myself to stay alert, but as the minutes ticked by, exhaustion began to creep in like a suffocating fog. It was around 11:22 when I made a split-second decision to pull off the road and catch some shut-eye. I found a secluded spot hidden behind some bushes, thinking it would be the perfect place to rest for a bit. Little did I know, I was about to step into a nightmare. Just as I started to drift off, I was jolted awake by a strange scratching sound. My heart pounded in my chest as I glanced at the clock, 11:50. The noise stopped abruptly, leaving me frozen in fear. But being the brave soul that I am, or so I tried to convince myself, I brushed it off as my imagination running wild and attempted to fall back asleep. But then, it happened again. This time, it was louder, more insistent. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach as I peered into the darkness through my rearview mirror, half expecting to see something lurking in the shadows. And that's when I saw it. A fleeting glimpse of movement, disappearing into the trees. Panic surged through me as I realized I wasn't alone out there in the darkness. My mind raced with terrifying possibilities, and before I could second-guess myself, I made a split-second decision to get the hell out of there. As I peeled out onto the road, my heart pounding in my ears, I rounded a bend and came face to face with a chilling sight. A parked car with its door flung wide open. My blood ran cold as I scanned the area, half expecting to see someone lurking in the shadows. But what I saw next will haunt me forever. A figure sprinting toward me, shouting incoherently. Without a second thought, I floored the gas pedal and didn't look back until I was safely home. To this day, I still can't shake the feeling of dread that washed over me that night. Was it just my imagination playing tricks on me? Or did I stumble upon something truly sinister lurking in the darkness? I'll let you be the judge. But one thing's for sure, I'll think twice before venturing out on those back roads again. Hey folks, gather round, 'cause I've got a bone-chilling story that'll send shivers down your spine. My name's Jack, and this happened to me just last year, out in the woods behind my uncle's cabin. Now, I ain't one to believe in ghosts and goblins, but what I saw that night, well, it still gives me the heebie-jeebies. It was a warm summer evening, and my cousin Sarah and I decided to go for a hike through the woods. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the forest floor as we ventured deeper into the trees. Everything seemed peaceful at first, the only sound the rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze. But as we wandered further from the safety of the cabin, things took a sinister turn. I started to notice whispers, soft, barely audible voices that seemed to be coming from all around us. Sarah heard them too, her eyes wide with fear as we glanced at each other, trying to make sense of what was happening. We tried to brush it off as our imaginations running wild, but the whispers grew louder, more insistent. It felt like the woods themselves were alive, whispering secrets that sent shivers down our spines. And then, we saw it, a figure darting between the trees, just at the edge of our vision. My heart pounded in my chest as Sarah grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my skin as we stumbled backward, trying to put as much distance between us and whatever lurked in the darkness. We didn't stop running until we reached the safety of the cabin, our breath coming in ragged gasps as we slammed the door shut behind us. We never spoke of what we saw that night, but the memory of those whispers still haunts me to this day. Was it just our overactive imaginations playing tricks on us, or something far more sinister lurking in the depths of the woods? I'll leave that for you to decide. But one thing's for sure, I ain't ever going back into those woods alone again. Hey folks, I've been wanting to share this eerie incident involving my cousin that still gives me chills whenever I think about it. Let's call him Mark. Now, Mark was the kind of guy who kept to himself mostly, living alone in a quiet neighborhood far from the hustle and bustle of the city. One day, out of the blue, we got the devastating news Mark had been found dead in his house, clawed to death, no less. It was a scene straight out of a horror movie. His body was covered in deep, jagged cuts, as if he'd been attacked by some monstrous creature. But here's the thing, there were no signs of forced entry. No broken windows, no kicked-in doors. It was as if whatever did this had simply vanished into thin air. And the weirdest part? Mark lived nowhere near any place with wild animals, ruling out any chance of a rogue bear or mountain lion being the culprit. The police were stumped, to say the least. They combed through every inch of the house, searching for clues, but came up empty-handed. There was no trace of fur or any other evidence that could point to an animal attack. To make matters even more unsettling, Mark's phone was found across the room, plugged into the charger. It looked like he had been trying to reach out for help before he succumbed to his injuries. The image of him crawling across the floor, desperate and alone, still haunts me to this day. It's been years since that fateful day, and yet, the mystery remains unsolved. What could have possibly torn my cousin apart in such a brutal manner, leaving behind no trace of its existence? It's a question that continues to gnaw at me, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the safety of our homes. This is something that happened to me when I was just a kid. So, when I was about 8 years old, I had this deep-rooted fear of the dentist. There was something about the guy that always made me uneasy. Dr. Martin, let's call him. Dr. Martin had a smile that seemed off, like those forced grins you see on clowns. Every time I walked into his office, his smile would stretch wider than it should, sending shivers down my spine. But let me tell you about the incident that haunts me to this day. Normally, my mom accompanied me to the dentist, going back with me to ease my fears. However, on this fateful day, it was my dad's turn to take care of me. My parents were divorced, you see, and it was my dad's responsibility to bring me to the appointment. He had this habit of sitting out in the lobby, occupied with his own things. As we arrived, my dad tried to convince me to go back alone, leaving him to relax in the waiting area. I refused vehemently, my anxiety mounting. The dental assistants had to practically drag me towards the dreaded treatment room, and my screams and cries echoed down the hallway, reverberating with the sheer terror I felt. Finally, my dad couldn't bear it any longer and gave in, storming into the room to retrieve me. Clearly irritated by my outburst, he rescheduled my appointment for a time when my mom would be available to come with me. He made a big fuss about my behavior, blaming my mom for spoiling me with too much attention and other hurtful remarks. Now, here's where things take a dark turn. 2 weeks later, a shocking news report hit the airwaves. It sent chills down my spine and confirmed every instinctual fear I had about Dr. Martin. The report revealed that my dentist, yes, the very same one I dreaded, had been charged with possessing child pornography. As the story unfolded, the horrifying truth emerged. Dr. Martin had been molesting children while they were under anesthesia, recording these despicable acts for his own sick pleasure. The revelation shook the community, leaving everyone in disbelief. I couldn't help but shudder, realizing how close I had come to being one of his victims. It's been years since that unsettling incident, but the memory lingers. The sinister smile, the discomfort, and the fear that gripped me during those visits to the dentist's office. It serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes our instincts, no matter how young we are, can protect us from unimaginable horrors. So, my friends, always trust your gut, and never ignore those eerie feelings. You never know what darkness may lurk beneath a forced smile, waiting to pounce on unsuspecting souls. And there you have it, folks, 5 of the creepiest Reddit true stories we can find. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.